If you need a ghost to follow for Forza GT, but there are no Forza Spec, whether GT or Touring Rivals modes, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to be doing Rivals in our class with only Forza multiplayer Spec Forza GT cars. Can't help you with a Touring at this point, but we're going to get started. And I'm going to do it every week based on the tracks that actually are being done for that week. Okay, I've had some viewers complain that they have a hard time figuring out where they stand, that the times are all over the place. They see guys 5-6 seconds a lap faster than them, and there are no rivals for Forza GT or Forza Touring spec cars. So what I'm doing is I'm going to take every week the races that are being done for Forza GT. I will eventually add Forza Touring, and I'm going to set a rivals time. I'm not the fastest guy, but I'm fast enough that you should get an idea kind of where you stand. Not only that, it gives you a ghost to chase. Also, you can check the replay and you can watch my telemetry. It just gives you things that you can do since we don't have a rivals board for it. The only track I can't help you out with is Road America, because I did set a time there with a build car, but I can help you out on pretty much every other track. I haven't done Lemans. I did run the Audi this week. I'm going to include tunes for each of the 4 tracks that I do for Forza GT that you can download or copy from here. And that way you can, use my tunes or you can use my ghost. Just trying to help you guys out that really need to kind of figure out kind of where you stand. And if you can beat me, and I am beatable, there are plenty of guys faster than I am, but if you can beat me, you're doing pretty well. I'm usually within the top 3 if there's a lot of good players, and if it's a random lobby, then I'm usually on pole. So I hope this helps you out, and we're going to get into it. I'm going to show you what to do to start, get my gamer tag, and then how to go into Rivals and set me as your rival. And then I'll show you each of the tunes for the cars with the replay playing in the side so you can see that as well. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, the first thing you need to do is add me, Kalos JB, as an Xbox. My Xbox gamer tag is add me as an Xbox friend. You can follow me when it says add friend. You don't need me to accept. As soon as you follow me, I will show up under your friends list with my times. So let's go over that real quick. So if you're on PC or if you're on Xbox, it's a little different, but mostly you're going to want to bring up your social or friends tab and you're going to search for people. In this case, you're going to search for me. It won't show up for some reason if I search for myself, but just so make sure you know what my actual gamer tag is. Let's see if we can blow that up a little bit. No, but Kalos JB, Kaylos JB. You should be able to find me whether you're on Xbox or whether you're on PC. All right, all you need to do now is go into Rivals. So go under Race, Rivals. We're going to do Open Time Attack under our class. In this case, the first one that'll show up will go to Mid-Ohio. Since you've added me as a Xbox friend, you should now be able to go to your leaderboard, go under Friends, and then I should show up there. And what you can do is you can click on me, and if I have a tune, which every one of these should, they're not necessarily the best tune, but the one, this is the one for this Mid-Ohio. This one's good, but you can watch my replay. You can set me as a rival. If you beat me but you still want to train against me, set me as a training ghost, and it should keep me as your rival ghost, even if you beat my time, if there's some other part of the track you want to work on. Now, my times aren't going to be the best times, but I'm pretty competitive in the times I set in the Forza GT class. I've competed against enough of the top guys to know that I'm not at their level, but I'm not that far off either. And I'm regularly in the top 3. So what this should do is give you the ability to actually get a feeling for where you're at, so that you know, like, okay, here's some things I can improve on, or hey, I'm getting really close. Really close. So also, when you watch my replay, so we'll go into the replay real quick, is you can bring up telemetry. We'll change to game cameras. Eventually we'll get the game cameras. All right, you can change it. You can go from cockpit, which is what I play in, or go and chase. The next thing you can do is actually bring up telemetry. And what this allows you to do is you can see how much throttle I'm using. You can see when I get on the brake, what gear I'm using, whether I take a corner flat or lift a slight bit. And by changing the camera angle, it gives you a good idea of what lines I'm taking. So you can compare that against the lines you're taking. So really useful feature. These will be nothing but Forza GT specs. I will not be doing R-Class cars at 900. They'll only be spec to what they would be in multiplayer. So that way you can get an actual idea of what to expect. All right, this is my Viper Tune for Mid-Ohio, my new one. This is not the one I did in Rivals. This is not the one I used in a Mid-Ohio track guide video. This is the new one that I'm more comfortable with. So in a race, I did a like 122 flat, or I did a 122, almost a 150 21.9 with this. So only real difference between this one and the tune that's in the previous video on for the general tune is the arrow. So you can see this is pretty much the same as my previous video where I talked about tuning secrets, and I did this second one. The difference with this one is I really kind of raised the arrow, especially on the rear, just for stabilization at Mid-Ohio, going over some of those crests where the rear end becomes really loose. So this really, and since a lot of the corners are slow speed, I didn't get a lot of issues with drag. I didn't get a lot of issues with understeer on high-speed corners. So this really stabilized it in those kind of slow-speed, hilly sections of Mid-Ohio. But I will give you just a second to look through this in case you haven't seen the previous video, so that you can pause it for a moment and copy this if you want to. All right, this is my BMW M8 Tune that I did a 2 flat, and I will post that on here somewhere so you can see that I have adjusted for multiplayer. It's better than the one that's in Rivals right now. I might go back and fix that, but currently this is what I got. Didn't really change the tire pressures. I wanted to go over it a little bit. I did adjust the first and second drive from the Rivals one just to get a better launch. Same thing on alignment. Ended up at 2335 for alignment. And you'll see what I did is I actually used suspension geometry. A little lower on the springs. I think I ended up going back up one. It was just a little too, when it was all the way low on the ride height, just a little too, I don't know how to explain it. It had a little more give for turn in and on exit with a little bit more ride height. 3.1, 8.1, and this is where I had really adjusted it for my Road America tune. It has a really good turn in already, so I only went up 0.1 on the front just for a little more stable turn in, but on the rear, and the anti-squat, I went down pretty significantly on it. So negative 1.7 on the rear, negative 0.46 on the anti-squat. The car really likes to spin up the tires when you're coming out of corners. So this was really able to really stabilize that and give me control so that I could actually control the oversteer and the power throttle. I did end up on aero just full front and as low as I can go on the rear. Silverstone has got those really brutal high-speed corners, and just getting it rotated is really important. Brake 48, 72 on acceleration, and deceleration 19. So there you have it. And I do have 90 steering lock. I believe if you just make sure it's at 100 when you use controller, it should be at 100. But this is the BMW M8. Hope you enjoy this one. I actually had some fun at Silverstone with it. It has got a poor launch no matter which way you go about it, so just be careful because you're going to get run down by Audis and Porsches and Ferraris at the start of a race. Very annoying. Okay, for Marina, this is my Ford GT build. It does not compete with the Audi. I'm still about 1.3, 1.4 seconds off the Audi time. That being said, in multiplayer, I was able to pull a 154.5, and I'll show that here, here, real quickly, and then just go over this tune. This is my new one that I prefer the way it feels. Also on this tune, the Marina's a little bit lower aero. I worked on the bumps to make sure I could handle the bump damping. It did not work at 1, so I had to raise it up to actually handle the curbs there. The Marina's curbs are atrocious. They will pull you off the track and really unsettle your car. So this worked out pretty well. It's pretty much close to the same as some of the other ones. I did some work on the gearing to get better starts. Same alignment. Anti-roll bars 34, 33, so it's not as loose as my Road America builds. Springs, we are really light on the springs. You will see it bottom out on telemetry. Don't worry about it. For whatever reason, when it bottoms out, it's actually more stable than when it's stiff and absorbs them. I don't get it. I'm actually down to as low as I can go on the ride height. I did bring the dampers from like 1, 1.2 up to 2 and 2.2, and that really seemed to help it on the curbs quite a bit. Suspension geometry, this is where I ended up on this. I did lower it enough that I wasn't getting weird understeer or having those moments where I hit curbs like at Road America and just kind of bounced it, where you can tell the bottoming out effect really hurt. But I really like the way this one works. For Marina, we went a little lower on the aero. Brake balance 49, 66 on the acceleration, and 14 on decel. And 80 on steering lock, 113 on force feedback. And this is the Ford GT that I'm now using for the most part for Marina. But I'm about to show you the other one I use for Nurburgring, which is probably my more general tune that's I based off Suzuka. Okay, this is my version for Suzuka Nurburgring. It's a good general all-round tune for just about any track that doesn't have super long straights. 159.9 at Suzuka, in race a 156.8. It's almost the exact same as the Marina. The only real differences are the damping. I went 1 and 1.2 on the damping. It handles the curves pretty well at Suzuka. You might want to go up a little bit if you muller the the curves a bit more, especially on Schumacher curves. Same suspension geometry. The difference was aero. So I went up max in the aero and I brought the the rear up to 360. The purpose of this is to stabilize the car at Suzuka, and it just worked really well at the Nurburgring. If you're still finding the rear end a bit loose at the Nurburgring, you could bring that up, say, to 365, 370, 375 until you're comfortable. All right, this is my Audi tune for the 24-hour Le Mans. Really, the only choices are the Ferrari or the Audi. Until they nerf the Audi, it's really kind of the way to go. Mostly what I did with this one is it's all about speed. So this is my Road America tune, and all I did is I changed the gearing and the aero until I was comfortable with it. And like I said, a 157 on hards. I did a 357 on hards. I did a 354 in qualifying, but it was sturdy. But here's a second look at the gearing. It's the same one as Road America. It should be, anyways. And then aero really low. I didn't go all the way low. You might be able to get a little more time out of it by dropping it even more, but this really gave me a good balance through the corners, like the Porsche curves, and through the other corners, while still giving me a 189 top speed. And there you have it. If you want to use the Audi. All right, next week we will be doing whatever the multiplayer races are for that one, but I will also be using the McLaren 720S that's going to be just coming out. I will make a Acura tune that I can use so people have more tunes for the Acura, and I'll probably use the BMW again just to get it a bit more variety as well as maybe the Dodge Viper. We'll see. So enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you for sticking with me, and cheers.